All right. Packet, pages 1 through 4. This packet that you're going to be getting here in a second is similar to the proof packet that you had back in geometry, okay, in its difficulty-wise, okay? Whereas today it might be really hard. Monday it's going to get a little bit easier. And then hopefully by next Tuesday, after you've done a bunch of these, it just keeps getting easier and easier for you, okay? So, just throwing that out there, yes, it might be a little difficult today, okay? Now, the part that you need to know are the items, okay, that we talked about yesterday. So I'm going to write them on the board, but they were the things that I had you, actually it might have been 2 days ago. It was that day that we talked about stuff from chapter 6, okay? Yep. Yep. And so today, the ideas you need to know is, for example, secant of x is 1 over cosine of x. Cosecant of x is 1 over sine of x. Cotangent of x is cosine of x over sine of x. Tan of x is sine of x over cosine of x. I believe those 4 are the ones that you need to know today for those, okay? And then you also need to remember, okay, that if you have something like 1 over sine of x plus cosine of x, that you have to be able to find common denominators. Okay, so what would I multiply the second one by so that they have common denominators? Sine of x. So you would do sine of x times sine of x. Okay? So you have to be able to find common denominators today. So you're going to be using these 4 plus this concept today on your problems. Some problems you're going to use both. Okay? Some of them you're only going to use those first concepts. All right? So, what these pages are trying to teach you today: change all trig to sine and cosine versions. That is why we have these types up here, because you see how all of these give the sine and cosine versions? Okay, so that's the first thing that you want to do. The other thing you need to know about today is you should only be working on the left-hand side. All right? You will only be working on the left-hand side. You should not be touching the right-hand side. So we're not going to change tan today at all. Okay? You guys ready to try some problems? All right. So we're only working on the left-hand side. The first thing that you want to do is you want to change anything that is not in sine and cosine versions to sine and cosine versions. So sine of x, we're good there, right? What does secant of x equal? 1 over cosine. So what you would have here is sine of x times 1 over cosine of x equals, and then just a reminder, you're leaving that right-hand side alone. Sine times 1 over cosine is sine of x over cosine of x, correct? Equals tan of x. Again, changing the left, leaving the right. Sine over cosine, what does that equal? Tan. So now your last step then is, okay, I have tan of x equaling tan of x. I'm done. You stop when what you have over here can be changed to what you have over there.
So would the sine over cos of x be our answer, or tan of x equals tan of x?
Sorry, what was that?
Which one's our answer?
This. Well, this whole thing is your answer.
All 3 of them?
Every step is your answer today.
Oh.
Okay? Okay? So, your answer key, which I just realized is only in the book, I still have to scan it in. Your answer key has everything written down. So if you get stuck at a point and you don't know where to go from there, you can look at the answer key and see where you went wrong. Okay? Now, some of these, there are other ways to get the correct answer that are right. It's just how I would do them. Okay, so if you think you have a right answer, but it's not the steps that I have, let me know and I can tell you if it could be correct or not. Yes, Seth? So for this next one, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change tan into sine of x over cosine of x. Okay, so the first step should always be, if it's not sine or cosine, you need to change it into sine and cosine. Okay, so I'm going to change tan of x into sine of x over cosine of x. Sine of x over cosine of x times cosine of x all over sine of x needs to equal 1. Okay, so what cancels first though? The cosines cancel. So then you would say cancel, cancel. So now I have sine of x over sine of x needs to equal 1. Sine of x and sine of x cancel, right? So then you have 1 equals 1, and you're done. Again, all of this is your solution. Okay?
So on the test, if I put 1 equals 1, you're not going to do the answer.
You will not get credit, no. No. Okay?
So I'm just going to if I put secant equals secant.
Exactly. If you put secant equals secant, you're not going to get credit. Yeah.
So today, everything on the right-hand side, just gotta get the left-hand side.
Yes. Yep. So you have to get the left-hand side to match the right-hand side. And if you'll notice, do you guys see how that right-hand side is typically a lot more simplified? Okay? So that right-hand side, it's typically a lot more simplified. And you'll notice that all day today. That right-hand side is going to be a simplified version. The left-hand side isn't. Okay? The point of this is it really gets these ideas in your head. Okay? It really gets how it works in your head. Okay? Now on the test, what they do is they'll give you this, and then they'll say, which one of these possibilities does that equal? Okay, so then you'll simplify until you figure out, okay, it's the 1, or it's sine of x, or so it'll be multiple choice. Are you ready for the next one? Okay, what does cosecant of x equal? 1 over sine of x. And then we're dividing that, so I'm going to, you know, that's what we were going to do second, but let's do that now. Yes. We were going to do that after we changed it, but we can do it right now. Typically, when you have a big division, it's a good idea to change it to that division sign from long ago. Then we have cotangent of x. Cotangent of x is cosine of sine. We want that to equal secant of x. What do you do with your second fraction? Flip it. Good. So then you have 1 over sine of x times sine of x over cosine of x. What happens to those sine of x's? Cancel. Oops, I forgot the equal secant of x. So then you have 1 over cosine of x equals secant of x. Isn't that what we have up here? So then we can say secant of x equals secant of x.
Is there ever gonna be one where like x?
Nope.
And then you mess it up.
You might not be able to do it because you don't know how, but it'll always equal on each side. Yep. All right. Do you guys want to try this one on your own, or do you want to do it together? Together? Okay, secant of x, what are we going to change it to?
1 over cosine of x.
1 over cosine of x plus sine of x equals 1 plus sine x times cosine of x all over cosine of x.
Sometimes cosines against the
No. So someone said it. Common denominators. What do you have to multiply this by to have common denominators? Cosine. Good. So then you get 1 plus sine x times cosine x all over cosine x, because when things have the same fraction and you add them, the bottom of the fraction stays the same, okay? If you have 1/3, well, that's not a good example. If you have 3/7 plus 2/7, that's 5/7. The bottom stays the same, you just add the tops, right? And that's what we wanted, correct?
What if it was cosine? Like, what if to the right it was cosine times sine plus cosine?
So then you'd write this down, and then you'd flip it, okay? Do you want to try this one on your own?
Yeah.
Try it on your own? Okay, try that one on your own and see how it goes. While you guys do that, I'm going to write the solution up here so that if you get stuck, I'm freezing it so you can't see it, but I'll put it up here then in a second if you get stuck. All right, I just finished. Do you guys want to see? Okay. That's what I have. Okay. So the first thing you do is change it to sine and cosine versions. Now that we have it in sine and cosine versions, we have to find common denominators. Okay. So this one you have to times by cosine of x. This one you have to times by sine of x. Okay. So then you have cosine squared of x plus sine of x over cosine of x times sine of x. So then I get this, and actually I should have had one more, right? Because this is in the wrong order. Okay? But, so mine's technically not done. All right, but it has both concepts that we talked about. Change it to sine and cosine versions, find common denominators. How does it sound? Sound okay for today? All right, your packet is printed. What? No, because it doesn't equal anything. You want me to erase it? Okay, yep, I can, just one second.